In this occasional series, The Washington Post brings you up to speed on some of the biggest stories of the week. This week, the U.S. declares North Korea carried out massive Wanakeri cyber attack. The biggest story, the dark side of digital currencies. The Trump administration publicly acknowledged that North Korea was behind Wanakeri, the cryptocurrency-linked computer worm that affected more than 230,000 computers in over 150 countries earlier this year. Drawing a connection between North Korea's alleged cyber activities and its development of nuclear weapons, a White House official said, "I think, at this point, North Korea has demonstrated that they want to hold the entire world at risk, whether it be through its nuclear program or cyber attacks." Read the full story. Here's how the attack unfolded. Wanakeri locked down victims' computers and refused to grant them access to their files unless they agreed to pay at least $300 in Bitcoin, a digital currency. You can watch the details in our video. Venezuela wants to circumvent sanctions with its own digital currency. The government of economically and politically troubled Venezuela recently announced plans to launch its own digital currency. The hope is that the new currency can bypass international sanctions and serve as an alternative to the country's now worthless bolivar or the U.S. dollar. Read the full story. 5 other important stories. 1. U.S. sanctions against Russia are also hurting Germany a lot. Elsewhere, pressure to bypass sanctions on Russia is coming not only from Moscow but also from the nations behind the measures. A new study by European economists shows that the West is paying a hefty price for its sanctions due to retaliatory measures, the inaccessibility of loans and a more general perception of a loss of trust. Germany has shouldered a particularly heavy economic burden, and demands are mounting there to repair relations with Russia. Read the full analysis. 2. As Moscow goes high-tech, so does its surveillance system. Moscow is plowing billions of dollars into reinventing itself as a modern, tech-friendly European city, and its system of remote surveillance is also ballooning. Over the past 6 years, the city has contracted with telecommunications operators to install more than 130,000 cameras, many of them boasting high-resolution, zoom and swivel functions, and an uplink to a centralized database accessed by 16,000 municipal, regional, and federal officials, including 6,000 law enforcement officers. Andrew Roth took a closer look. 3. How debt-ridden refugees are being forced to return to a war zone. When the United Nations slashed aid to Somali refugees, many were forced to borrow money for food. They saw only one option for paying it back: traveling back to their home country and risking their lives. Their return was a sign of how a strained international aid system has broken down amid the biggest global refugee crisis since World War II, as Kevin Seif writes. For who is Cyril Ramaphosa, South Africa's probable next president? On Monday, delegates from South Africa's ruling African National Congress Party elected him as their new president, paving the way for Ramaphosa to become the country's next leader.